One of our top stories this morning, the Women's March worldwide was well represented in Missoula Saturday as hundreds of women, men, and children gathered downtown to march down Higgins to Karas Park to hear indigenous music and speeches from women activists. Rebecca Weston of Missoula Rises welcomed the enthusiastic crowd.
Historic and global Women's March.
Weston explained the purpose of the march and rally.
Just as ordinary folks like us for hundreds of years have fought and won historic battles for social safety nets, for civil rights, for reproductive rights, for marriage equality, we are here today to both continue that tradition of activism and to celebrate 1 year of struggle. A struggle that's not always easy, to be a truly intersectional movement, and a struggle to bring social and economic justice.
One of the first speakers was student Lauren Small Rodriguez, whose Cheyenne name is Thunder Woman.
We are asking you to dismantle the system of oppression that this country is built upon, that you maintain and have benefited from. We are asking for equality and for justice.
Do they know what's best for our bodies?
No!
Do they know what's best for our children?
No!
Do they know what's best for our homelands?
No!
Other speakers included Nerieta Calero, a dreamer and recipient of DACA, Michelle Imoni Cox, president of the Black Student Union, and Anita Green, an activist for transgender rights. Throughout the venue were signs promoting women's rights, Native American rights, and many protesting President Donald Trump, one that simply read, "Impeach." Well, speaking of government, just before 10 p.m. Friday night, the U.S. Senate failed to reach an agreement on funding the federal government, which led to a shutdown now in its third day. Both sides were quick to blame the other. First, Republican Steve Daines.
The reason that the government has shut down is because of a controversial illegal immigration policy that was not included in a bill that funds the government. If you don't know that, you're missing the facts. We should not hold the country hostage for a controversial immigration policy that impacts 0.00007% of Montanans. But a minority of U.S. senators want to shut the government down.
Senior Senator John Tester countered with his own argument.
For 111 days, the leadership on the other side of the aisle, and I mean intentionally so, I believe, have played politics and kicked the can down the road. This is not nuclear physics, folks. This is about funding our government. It's not that tough.
Leaders in the Senate and President Trump have been meeting over the weekend looking for a solution to the budget impasse. And in a related story, Montana Senator Steve Daines said the government shutdown that was done by President Obama several years ago tried to make the shutdown painful for the American people. Daines said Saturday, however, that Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke, a former Montana congressman, wants to keep Montana's Glacier National Park and Yellowstone National Parks open. Most of Yellowstone is in Wyoming, but 3 of the 5 entrances are in Montana. On Saturday, Zinke tweeted, quote, "Not all national parks are fully open, but we're working hard to make as much accessible as is safely possible," end quote. The administration promised to keep as many sites open as possible during the shutdown, which began midnight Friday on the East Coast, but by midday Saturday, the pattern was spotty. Ravalli County Sheriff's deputies and paramedics from Marcus Daly Hospital were called out to a residence in Victor Friday afternoon for a man possibly having a medical issue who had attacked 2 family members. Sheriff Steve Holton said the initial call came in to 911 about 12:30 p.m.
The family had tried to escort an adult male out of the house. He'd been making some threats and just real erratic behavior. When they got him out, he took a snow shovel and broke a window in a doorway to get back in. And during the fight or the scuffle that ensued, he ended up stabbing both the adults.
Holton said the victims were able to hold the suspect until sheriff's deputies arrived.
They were actually able to almost control him until the deputies got there, and then he was taken into custody. Everybody, besides there was one adult witness there, but everybody ended up getting medical treatment for various injuries that were received. And fortunately, there were no life-threatening injuries.
He said his office is withholding the names of the suspect and the victims until charges can be filed. As of Saturday afternoon, the suspect had not yet been released from the hospital, so he could be incarcerated in the Ravalli County Jail. The charges would be attempted homicide. Montana prosecutors argue child protection caseworkers are not following a state law that requires them to release the results of toxicology tests done on children in cases where they're suspected to have been exposed to illegal drugs. Laura Smith, Deputy Director of the Health Department, told the Legislative Committee Friday that the agency is seeking clarification about whether federal law allows them to release the test results without a court order. Senator Eric Moore sponsored the bill. He argued the agency should have sought that clarification while the bill was being discussed by the 2017 legislature. Smith said the agency was not trying to obstruct investigations, but wants to make sure disclosure wouldn't jeopardize federal funding for substance abuse and mental health services. Prosecutors say the agency is incorrectly interpreting federal law. The crime in Missoula this past week may have seemed slow, with very few felony arrests by the police department. County Attorney Kirsten Pabst said her office was busy with, quote, more than a handful of assault cases.
We had an aggravated assault that resulted in a severely broken leg and injuries to the woman. There was a partner assault third offense, and then another first offense, a handful of non-family violent cases, including an aggravated assault that happened in a homeless camp, resulting in fairly severe head injury. And then there was an assault with a bodily fluid.
The assault with a bodily fluid charge was for an incident in which someone spat on a law enforcement officer. Of course, assault cases weren't the only types of crime last week.
There was a surreptitious visual observation case, 3 property crimes, 2 thefts, and an embezzlement. And then quite a few drug cases. One involved an alleged cocaine distribution, a local business, and then one of the meth cases was at a casino where the suspect allegedly had the meth in a pipe in a Cheetos bag.
Pabst said the drug-sniffing dogs were able to help county deputies find drugs in 2 of the cases this past week. One involved heroin, the other involved meth, heroin, cash, guns, and pills, all found in a vehicle from California. Our News Talk time now is 6:12.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly cloudy skies today with our high temperatures in the mid-30s. Areas of snow will be possible. Snow accumulations will stay under half an inch. Tonight, overnight low right around the 20-degree mark. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.